Hi, I'm Anna Darkster and welcome to the cookery conversation for the Aber Food Surplus Eco Food Sharing Hub. Today we're going to make cheesy green pancakes. I usually do this with kale, but it doesn't matter. You can use whatever greens are seasonal and available and cheap. To make the pancakes, you will need 1 mug of plain flour, 2 eggs, 2 or 3 handfuls of prepared greens, or 2 or 3 blocks of frozen spinach or frozen kale, which your smoothie maker should be able to blitz straight up. Otherwise, follow the instructions on the packet to prepare it in a microwave or in a saucepan. And finally, 1 1/3 cups of milk, or if you would prefer to measure it more accurately, 300 millilitres of milk. For the garlic mushrooms, you'll need a couple of handfuls of mushrooms and 1 or 2 cloves of garlic, depending how garlicky you like them, and some oil to fry the mushrooms in. I'm going to use 1 large bowl or saucepan to prepare the greens, a colander to strain the greens, a pair of scissors to chop them up, or a sharp knife, which you will also use for the garlic, a spatula, a chopping board, a cheese grater, and I just blitz the whole pancake mix up in a smoothie maker. But if you don't have one of these, use a hand blender. Okay, let's get going. To begin, let's turn on our smaller frying pan or saucepan to prepare the garlic mushrooms. I'm going to turn the pan on full heat just to get it hot and get those mushrooms browning off nicely. They'll probably take about 10 to 15 minutes to cook, so we'll have them cooking in the background while we prepare the green pancake mix. Oil. Just put a bit of oil in the pan to heat up. Okay, now let's just chop the mushrooms. And then we'll add them to the pan. Next we're going to prepare the garlic to go in with the garlic mushrooms. So what you can do to make chopping garlic much easier is use the flat side of your knife to squash the garlic clove. I'm going to go for 2 garlic cloves because we like it garlicky in this household. That should make the skin easy to come off. Might just crush this one a bit more just to make sure the skin comes off better. Chop the little end bit of the garlic off. That's the bit that you don't want in your food. And finally chop the garlic, and then we'll add that to the mushrooms. So while this is cooking in the background, we will prepare the kale ready for the green pancakes. Here we have the kale. I'm going to chop the ends off as they're looking a little bit old. If you have any chickens or sheep or any animals close by, they might want to eat them. Otherwise, put them on your compost heap and use them in your garden. Okay, so I'm going to chop the kale up using scissors, and then the trick with it is to use boiling water to soften the kale for a moment and make it fresh. Leave it in the boiling water for a moment and then strain the hot water out and run cold water over the kale. This will only take a couple of minutes, but it makes it easier to blend into the pancake mix. While that's in the hot water, I'm just going to quickly mix my mushrooms. At this point, you will want to turn your pan for your mushrooms down so that you don't burn the garlic, but they'll have browned off a bit nicely now, so yeah. Leave them turned down and just frying in the background, ready for when we want them as our filling for our pancakes. Next, I'm going to strain the kale and then run some cold water over it, and we will blitz up the pancake mix. Now, crack your 2 eggs into your mixing bowl or your smoothie maker. 1, 2. Add 1 mug of flour, plain flour or wholemeal, whatever you have, and 1 mug of milk. And your greens. You can add a couple of handfuls. I think we might need more milk than that actually. It's quite thick. Okay. A third more milk, 300 millilitres. A third of a mug more. I'll add that in, and then let's give it a blitz. We want the consistency to be about that of single cream. So if it's thicker or thinner, you can add more flour. If it's thinner, you can add more milk if you need to get it to the right consistency. Next, we're going to blitz up our pancake mix. If you have a hand blender, then you will be doing this in a bowl with your hand blender in the bowl and just blitz it up until all the greens are mixed in and it's a nice green colour. If you have a smoothie maker, just blitz away and let's get going. This green pancake mix off now and just check it's at the right consistency. I forgot to mention earlier that you will need a soup ladle or something similar to dish out the pancake mix. So we want it to be the consistency of about single to double cream. That should be fine. If it seems to be too thick in the pan, we can always add a bit more milk and that will be fine. Okay, so we're going to move these mushrooms onto the back now because they're all done, and let's start cooking our pancakes. Add some oil. About a tablespoon for the first one is good, just to make sure the pancake mix doesn't stick to the pan. Make sure your pan is nice and hot. You can test to see whether the oil is ready for the mix by adding a tiny bit. If it hisses like that, it's ready to go. So let's add a ladle full of pancake mix. I forgot to say you're going to need a ladle for this recipe on the equipment list. More oil is always better with the first pancake to stop it sticking. Okay, so we're going to know when the pancake's ready to turn, if it starts browning at the edges underneath. How's that looking? Yeah, it's starting to get brown, isn't it? Yeah, I would say maybe it needs 1 more minute. You want it to lose its wetness on the top as well. If it's still really wet on the top, it's not ready to turn. I've broken my good spatula, so this is going to be quite hard to turn with this mini spatula, but we will give it a go. Let's see. Ready? Now, it's looking good. So we can grate the cheese directly onto that with a few of the mushrooms. I'm just going to use the same spatula. Save on washing out. And grate some cheese directly on top. Personally, I really like chili flakes with pretty much everything, but you can add your own spices at this point. Some chili flakes or some pepper. Probably doesn't need any salt. I'm going to add a few chili flakes and let's roll it up. So this one's ready to serve. If you like, you could have some tomatoes on the side or a bit of green salad, or, I mean, you've got the greens in it, so really it's quite a complete meal. You can also alternate the fillings with chopped tomatoes, or if you are vegan, opt out for the cheese or use a vegan cheese instead, and you can use vegan milk in the mix and a bit more oil instead of eggs as well if you are vegan. So yeah, there we have it. There is our cheesy kale pancake with garlic mushrooms. So my two boys are not that keen on mushrooms yet, but in time they'll get there. I wasn't keen on mushrooms for a while when I was a kid. It takes tasting something about 17 times to really get to like it, so my boys are encouraged to try something with every meal, and if they don't like it, that's fine, they can leave it, but in time they get to know the flavour and the texture. However, today they're just going to have it plain with a bit of cheese. They're getting loads of goodness from those greens in the pancake, and I'm happy with that. Got another one on the go. Ready for the next person. You. It's lunchtime now. Your next pancake's nearly ready. There we go, we'll leave that one to cook while I chop up this pancake ready for the boys. Ready to go. Just some more of this one, Ra?
Lemon.
This was another cheesy one.
We liked them.